the Gould Mine podcast.
It's interesting because I feel like most investors, it's like the top three is like the most common three. It's like BRRRR, fix and flip, or multifamily, right? Mm-hmm. But
especially
you found
these days.
Especially multifamily. So how does one get into industrial real estate investing?
So came a long way through, and actually we have something in common. I was doing some research before the show, and actually started off in hotel brokerage was where my career started.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah,
so cool.
Like backing up completely. So around 2013 was going to college, went to Auburn University here in Alabama. I'm on the Alabama Gulf Coast, so down near where Florida and Alabama meet, which is a unique place to run a company, but it's a good little spot. And so was at Auburn University, was doing way too much having fun and not enough going to class. And so my parents and I decided it was time to figure something else out. So I was, I guess, junior year, came back home and was just trying to figure some stuff out and decide what I wanted to do. And someone was like, well, you should get your real estate license. Like the market was starting to go back a little bit, and selling houses in an appreciating area and where people are moving, which is where we live. It's not a bad idea. So started doing that, sold residential real estate for about 6 months, was not a fit for me. Was much more of a numbers guy than and I was also like 21 years old running around trying to like sell houses to like 50-year-olds. So it was a weird gig. And it's quickly was like, that's probably not my best use of what I need to be doing. But found commercial real estate through that, started working for a senior broker who had been in the business for decades. He was really helpful to me and big mentor of mine. His name was David. And actually had lunch with him today, randomly enough. But anyway, had a lot of great years working with him. And one of his biggest things he suggested was like, at that time, there wasn't a great number of hotel brokers on the Gulf Coast itself. We're selling limited service hospitality. So Hampton Inns, Holiday Inn Expresses, Choice Hotels, Wyndhams, whatever. And mainly for owner operators at that point. And so being local boots in the ground, we were able to kind of get a good foothold in. So started calling on hotels. I guess it was like 2014-ish kind of time frame. Continued to do that for quite a few years. Ended up at Marcus & Millichap in 2017 in their national hospitality group, continuing to sell limited service hospitality. Ended up being able to sell a little bit more to funds, PE shops, REITs, larger clientele at Marcus, which was nice to be able to kind of broaden my understanding of the markets and how LPs work, GPs work, all that kind of fun stuff. And did that for quite a few years. And then in 2020, a friend of mine who was a broker at that original firm that I worked at, his name is Jeremy Friedman. We were talking about a multifamily deal of all things because I had decided in 2019 I wanted to start raising money and start doing my own deals. And so I called him because he had a decent amount of knowledge of construction. And I was like, how much do HVAC units cost? And he was like, what are you doing? And so we kind of put our heads together, and I told him what I was working on, and he had an idea for a different building. And we ended up going after that one together. And it kind of started off being a thing where we were like, well, maybe we team up to do a couple of deals together, but we'll continue to kind of run our own stuff. That became Stoic Equity Partners, which it is today. Our first 4 deals were self-storage deals. And that was in 21 to early 22. That time frame down on the Gulf Coast, especially, so much storage was being built. There's a ton of housing coming in. Like, it was a good fundamental play. There's just was so much supply. It really was hard for us to scale in that asset class. So we started looking around, and just from being brokers and talking to other brokers, we always heard everyone talk about not enough small office warehouse, flex industrial type space. And so started really learning that space in early 22. We did our first acquisition in that asset class, I guess in September of 22. So it's exactly 2 years ago. And we bought, call it 900,000 square feet, about 90 million of that product. So total portfolio is just over 100 million, just over 1 million square feet now. But 90% of that is flex industrial. The other 10% still those couple of self-storage deals we started out with. So long answer to your question, but that's how we ended up in industrial real estate.